wind is out there now. Definitely calmed down to just on 30 when I went to leave, which is why I took all of a sudden ripped on my gear and put it on. I was hoping it was going to be down to 25, but that didn't hold, so 32 knots is what I left it. But it worked really well. So now it's just a matter of staying safe. I've got my life jacket on, all my gear. I've got my harness ready for my tether. This is a harness jacket. And I've tied down my mainsail out haul because it's flapping like crazy. It'll probably just be motor and a bit of head salt if I need the motor at all. So hopefully it's going to be just on the reach, at least a close reach to get to Korčula instead of being hard on into it, but not likely. Close reach. That's better. 7 knots on a close reach. 26 knots of wind at the moment, so it's abated a little bit, which is nice. I've rolled out a bit more sail. I'll show you. This is how much I'm rolling. One thing I can't stand is it's not going slow. It's not the going slow that's the problem. It's the lack of control you have when you're underpowered. So I really don't like that. I don't mind going slow as long as I've got the control. So when it gets really windy, and that's probably part of my seasick thing, when it gets really windy but I'm underpowered because I've got such little sail out, then it's sloppy and it makes me feel rubbish. So I tend to go on the side of like I'm doing a coastal race and but back it off so we don't hurt the boat and push it a bit harder and have some fun. So one thing someone asked is, well, like on sailing approach in the winter and solo sailing. Well, one thing is to have people, especially around islands, because you've got a lot of topographical influence from the weather. It's not like at sea. It's good to know what's going on at different places. Like Korčula is renowned for winds during the border, and I'm heading to Korčula, so I've got a guy at Korčula that I can message and say, hey, what's it like at the marina? Because it's 38 knots here at Pomena, and I've got to come to you. And he says, yeah, it was freaking raging. But then when I left, he's like, it's calmed down now, it's down to 20, and yet I still had 35. So having different people around the islands or around the areas that you can confoe with, that helps. It doesn't mean you have to have that, but that definitely helps. And this is just a little bit inside this vlog, but I will work on that video of a bit of information and how to prepare for sailing in Croatia in the winter. Always put your fenders away. Always put your fenders away. Put them all away. I don't care if you have to put them on your bunk. Put them away. Boats look terrible with fenders hanging off the side, and worse when they're just flipped over inside the lifelines. That's actually worse than having them hanging off the side. And rather you lost them. They're just a hazard for people walking down, and they're even uglier. Put your fenders away. Now do what you want. forward to wind in a little bit of sail, because I saw a bit more breeze coming, and I'd probably handle it, but it's just nicer to be prepared and much easier to reef it in advance than when it hits. If anyone's heard my Wellington saying, it's much easier to shake out a reef when you're bored than to put one in when you're scared. Good. Sail down the inside of these islands with guests of Korčula when I approach, and I was like, hey, why do I always do that? Well, I do it because it's beautiful, because they haven't seen it, but I've seen it. So I thought, actually, I'll get better wind if I sail outside, and outside's up there. and I did get better wind. I was getting more and more and better and better and better wind. So this little gap I've just come through here, which gets down to 5 meters deep, you could call that a bit reckless, but I've sailed through here 30, 40, 50 times. So I thought, you know what, I'm getting too excited today. I've enjoyed the sail, I like the wind, but I think going inside the islands and getting my sails down early is a bit better than going and taking on the mountain, which is Mljet and the amount of wind that it cooks up in a border. So giving Nilka a rest, giving me a rest, and we'll pass through this lovely turquoise water, get into the shadow, the lee of the islands, and pull in sails and head into the marina. Yeah, and now that I say it, I'm tired. I am. I'm tired. reach it. I'll give it to you right now. Tell me when.